Hello, motherfucker. Okay, so hope you're having a good day so far because we're gonna ruin it with some programming. I can't take this anymore. So I thought for this one we're gonna do a before and after image slider in vanilla JavaScript because I haven't seen that almost anywhere for some reason. So basically you have an image and you have a bar and you can see a before and after shot for, I don't know, picture edits or maybe a product shot or OnlyFans, so clothes version, and then you can get original with it. Yeah, most of the tutorials I saw either use some kind of framework, library, or jQuery. Like, it's 2021. What year is this? Oh, boomers ruining web development. Okay, so let's jump into the codes and I will show you how to do. That made perfect sense. I'm gonna leave it like that. Okay, so let's jump into what we have here. Okay, so first of all, we have the index.html. All right, and here all I did was I just, again, linked the style sheet to it and the app.js. Okay, so we have a CSS file that's empty and we have a JavaScript file that's empty. If you don't know how to do this, then I'm sorry. Well, you can copy paste it from here, but you get the point. And finally, we have an image folder with a before and after image. You can get these, I don't know, just download something off Pexels or whatever. All right. Yeah, just a before and after. I might provide it depending on the amount of likes of this video. I'm joking. I'll probably put it in the description. Okay, so set this up right now. I'll give you like 10 seconds. Time's up, motherfucker. Okay, let's go. So first thing we're gonna do is set up the HTML codes. All right, so basically what I wanna do here is make a big container and then make two small containers with the images. And I'm gonna explain why we do it this way. So what we're gonna do is go to the body, all right, touch my body and make a container. And in here, I'm gonna have a container for the before image and the after image. So just follow along, just create a div with a class of image container after, like this. And here we'll just drop in the after image after. All right, hit save, and I'm just gonna make another one like this. Just paste this, and I'm gonna change this to before. And I'm gonna go here and change this image to before, like that. I'm also gonna add a class to this, so to the actual image, and just say after, and to this one class just say before. Super easy. And that's it, that's all you need. Actually, we need one more thing, that white slider in the middle. I'll just create an empty div for this, just down here, just say slider. All right, just a div, an empty div with slider. Okay, fantastic. So that's all we need here. So we can close this up. We can actually right click and open it with live server so we can see what's going on. Okay, so there we go. Now our images are huge right now because they're kind of the original quality, but we're gonna fix that. So first of all, what I'm gonna do is add a star symbol, which basically means it grabs all the elements on the page, and just say margin 0, padding 0, and box sizing border box. All right, so margin basically removes all the space. So when you add the H1 and everything, same thing with padding, it just removes it from all the elements. And if we need to add spacing somewhere, we can do it after. And box sizing border box, just make sure that if you do end up adding padding or margin, it ends up adding it on the inside and not on the outside, so it doesn't make the element grow inside. Okay, so first thing I'm gonna do is just I don't know, let's make the images smaller. I'm just gonna grab all the images and just add a fixed width to them and height. So I'm gonna say 30 VW. Actually, it's not really fixed because it's dynamic. Height 80 VH. All right, just like that. Let's see what that does. All right, so they're way smaller now. All right, and basically this kind of acts as viewport width, right? So depending how big your monitor is, it's gonna scale it based on that. So basically like 30% of the space of your screen. All right, so if I like squeeze this together, it's still gonna be 30%. Same thing for the height. It's always gonna be like that. But as you can see, it kind of like messes it up a bit, right? Like that doesn't look too good, especially if I go down like that. So what I can do, if you have that issue, is you can add object fit cover. cover. All right, so now rather than squishing it together, it kind of zooms in on the image like that, see? Or it kind of cuts off the sides of it, just so it doesn't look ugly anymore, right? All right, so that makes it pretty looking. Perfect. So that's the first thing we're gonna do. And now what I wanna do is just kind of center everything here in the middle. So I'm just gonna grab the body and say display flex. All right, align item center and justify content center. All right, so basically this one aligns it vertically and this one horizontally. Okay, there we go. Now it doesn't really align it vertically because we need to add a specific height to this. So I'm gonna add a minimum height of 100 VH. Okay, so it kind of takes up the whole screen. Actually, we need to do a few more things here because I mean, it's centered, but you know, we have two large images here, so it's kind of hard to tell because I kind of want to put it right here in the center. But it's okay, we're gonna fix this. So what I'm gonna do is we're gonna have to use position absolute to basically add these on top of each other. So what I'm gonna do is just grab the container for now. All right, so the container basically holds these two other smaller containers. I'm gonna do a position relative to this and add the same width and height that I used on the image. All right, so just copy these over, that's fine, paste and save. Okay, and look at that, there we go. Now it's kind of down here. Okay, so what I'm gonna do now is grab the other containers, so the inner containers of this, all right, so image container after and before, and add a position absolute on those. So take a look at this, image container before, comma, image container after. I'm gonna add a position absolute and hit save. All right, so now they go on top of each other, just like that. All right, so basically what's happening here is we centered basically this container right here in the middle, right? We added the position relative to this container, so when I add position absolute on the inner containers, they basically go on top of each other in this upper container, all right? So just add position relative to the big one and absolute to the smaller ones, which kind of stacks everything together. That's it, like that's the whole idea here. I'm gonna add the same width and height because what we're gonna do is kind of cut off half of one of these, all right? So what I can do now is just grab one image, let's do image container after, let's do before. I can just add a width of 15 VW to this, all right? And hit save, and that doesn't do anything, fantastic. Let's see what's wrong. Why you no work? Maybe I used the same image here? No, I didn't. Damn programming, you mother lover. Destroying my life. Oh wait, is this the old one? No, it's not. Huh. What the fuck is wrong with you? What's wrong with you? Explain yourself. Alright, I have no idea. Well, that's the end of this tutorial. Alright, so all we had to do was actually check with in the inspector here. So this is why we add another container here, because I want to explain this so it makes sense. So why did we add this inner containers right here? Well, basically I want to cut this image in half without squishing this image together. So as soon as I added a width of 15 to the container and not to the actual image, look what happens. If I go to the before here that we added the 15 to, look at that, it's cut in half, but my image inside is still full size like that, right? So what I can do is just cut the container in half by making a smaller width to it, so 15 in this case, and then I can just add overflow hidden to it, which basically cuts it off like that, right? So it doesn't let the image kind of hang out of the container. All right, that's the idea here. Let me see if I can show you this with a background color of brown. All right, let me see if I remove the overflow hidden. Yeah, you cannot see because it's actually in the background. Probably with like padding or something, it kind of sticks out. See, like that's the container right there. And the image sticks out of it because we added fixed width and height to these, right? So you have to add fixed width and height. It's not gonna work with percentages, it's gonna get messy. Okay, so that's the container right there. And if we add the overflow hidden, it basically cuts everything off like that. All right, I'm gonna remove this padding and the brown. No time for poop. Okay, save. All right, so that's the whole idea. Now check it out. If we wouldn't have this container, I'm just gonna get rid of this, right? And if I would just have the images and just do like width, I don't know, I'll grab the before image, just add a width of 15 rem to it. See, this is what would happen. It would cut it off like that, but it would move the image off. So if I do 10, right, that's what's happening to it. And if I don't have the object fit cover, it would just like squish it together like that. So it's still like there's no good solution for this. So let me bring this back. So object fit cover, it's not gonna squish it, but it's gonna move away its position to kind of keep it good looking. And yeah, so let me just go back. All right, so make sure you have the containers so you can do this trickeroony. Anyway, I think that's gonna be it here. Yeah, that's good. Is there anything else? Yeah, we are almost done. All we need to do is just add that slider. So I'm gonna just grab a slider here. Again, this is just an empty div. I'm just gonna add a 0.5 rem, kind of the width, all right? And just add a background of white to it so we can see it. Height 100%. I don't think we can see it yet, no. I'm gonna add a Z index of 10, so it's like always on top here. And position absolute. All right, to kind of move it wherever I want. Now it's right there. Oh my goodness. Let me jump back here. Top 0, left 50%. All right, so I'll center it right here. Okay, and that's kind of it. That's all we need to do. Fantastic. Actually, to move it perfectly in the center, we need to use transform to do that. Because it moves it 50% right here, but like the width kind of continues. Like, let me show you. Like, let me make the width bigger, 5 rem, right? So it starts from 50%, but it like the width keeps moving it a bit to the right, right? So if I kind of put it like this, so what we want to do is like take the size of the actual slider and move it back 50% to be perfectly in the center. So transform, translate, that's what you use, and move it back 50% on the X and 0% on the Y, because we don't want to move it up. See? So it kind of just takes the element, half of it, and move it back. Okay, that sounds so stupid. Hope it made some sense. Okay, so made the width a bit smaller again, and we are good. All right, so that's it. It's not really complicated. Just make a container, 2 more containers in it, and just add position absolute and change the widths, and it's good. Okay, let's do the JavaScript, everybody's favorite, and it actually goes quite easy here. So what we can do is just grab the elements, const slider, document, query selector. I'll grab the slider. Make sure you add the dot there, otherwise you are gonna be screwed. Then the before image. Actually, we can just kind of copy paste this a few more times. 1, 2, 3, and just change this up to before, after, and here I can grab the container. Okay. Oh, there's another interesting thing I wanted to show you. Let me see if I can show you. Here, all right. Okay, so when you have a container and you have things inside of it, when you add position absolute, that container goes to shit. And what I mean by that is that the height and the width basically get destroyed, because when you add position absolute to something, it's like, you can imagine like you have a box, right? No, that's such a stupid example. Let me see if I can show you. Okay, let me just add a background of poop to this. All right, padding 5 rem. I'm gonna add some padding so you can see this. All right, so there's the container right there. Now it kind of moves down here a bit because I need to add top 0 here and left 0, but again, that doesn't really matter. All right, so I'm just gonna remove this. Okay, but anyway, it's inside right here, right? Now, take a look. If I don't add the width and the height to the container, see, it kind of collapses because you're removing all the elements from it. So this can get, like, it can get so annoying when you're building this out, because you might be using like 100% width, 100% height, and then it just doesn't work because you're like, why is this not working? Make sure when you're doing this is that you're always using fixed width and height. So on the container, add it on the container, add it on the inner containers, the same thing, and then on the images as well. All right, so please remember that, because otherwise you remove the images or the inner containers and then it's gonna collapse. Okay. Wow, this video is fucking terrible, but it's okay. I feel like I'm not making any sense. Okay, let's get rid of that. Just go back to normal. Jesus. Okay. Anyway, the reason why I want to keep the container size the same as everything else is because that's what I'm going to use to slide the things back and forth. Okay. Jesus Christ. I'm going to make a function. We're going to call this drag your ass. Drag your ass. And set this equal to... this is just an arrow function, okay? Just a simple arrow function. You can create it like this, but I don't even know how to make it anymore because, you know, it's boomer stuff. Okay, so what do we need to do here? Well, what I need to do is get the position of my mouse on the actual element. So the way you can do that is add an event listener. So I'm gonna grab the container, right? This is the thing that we want to add it on. Add event listener, and then we can do a mouse move. Mouse move, all right? And the function I want to run is this drag your ass, all right? Just add it in there. So basically, when I move my mouse over the container, it's gonna drag your ass. Okay, so it's gonna run everything in here. I can demonstrate console log ass. Look at this, F12. So let me go over to console. Look at that, ass. Have you 729 asses? That's insane. Okay, so now when you add basically an event listener and you add the function in here, right? So you create an event listener. This function will gain access to the actual event. So you can write E here, or event, or your own as event, anything you want. I'll just leave E because it's super simple. Okay, so basically now this function has access to everything that's happening with this mouse move. So coordinates, positions, everything else. All right, so if I just console log out E, you're gonna see as soon as I touch it, you're gonna have access to a bunch of mouse event crap, like that. Now, what I found here is that you can use e.layerX, and that's gonna get its position. So look at that. So 0, we drag it all the way to the right, all the way to 500, 400, whatever, it doesn't matter. So what I'm gonna do is grab this e.layerX and just save it inside a variable. So I'm gonna say x position, okay? So position of the x coordinate. And yeah, that's it. It's so simple. What I can do now is grab the before image, right? The before image, and just say style.width is equal to x position plus pixels. All right, so we're just adding the width in here, right? So x, like this would translate to width 200 blah, blah, blah pixels, all right? Or something like that. And that's it. Let's save, let's see. Ooh, okay, it doesn't work quite well. Actually, is because we're modifying, take a look at the actual image. And I told you that it's not gonna work well that way. So that's why we need to actually do the container and not the image, right? Even here in style.css, we can see that we messed around with the width on the container and not on the actual image, because with the image, you had the fuckery. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is just update these. So image container before and image container after. All right, so we're messing around with the containers. And look at that, it works. Wow, look at that. How simple was this? Now, the bar kind of stays there. So let's update that as well. Slider, style, left is X position plus pixels. All right, so we're just moving the slider, this slider, just moving the left position to kind of go with the image. Look at that. Now there's some weird flickering effect, and that's because we're hovering over the slider and not hovering when we move it around. We hover over the image and then the slider. It does some weird flickery crap. So all we need to do is just go here and say pointer events, none. And all that means is that we cannot basically click on the slider. It's only decorative, all right? I cannot select it. And that kind of fixes everything up for us nicely. And that's kind of it. Like, that's the whole thing. You just grab the values of the thing and you update them. Like, if you want to make it a bit nicer, like when you see, if I like go like this fast, it doesn't drag all the way, right? I have to go slow like this. Boom, see? So if I drag, like, it leaves some space there. So what I like to do, this is optional, is I just like to do a if statement here and just say if my X position is bigger than 30, my apologies, if it's smaller than 30, so if it gets close here, right, or let's do 50 or something, I can just reset. I can basically make it glue to it or jump to it, jump to 0. I hit the microphone, sorry. So I can just say before style width, set it equal to 0. And same thing with the slider, style left equal to 0. So now we get this jump, bam, see? So now if we go a bit faster, it kind of looks a bit smoother, it's nicer. All right, look at that, bam. And you can mess around with the value. You can do 100 here if you want it to jump faster, bam. All right, so when you scroll faster, it just kind of snaps in there, which is nice. I'm gonna do 50. And we can do it the same here, right? But here, like, how do I get the value here? I could like get the image size, like, and hard code the value. Like, I can do something like if the X position is bigger than 400, but the problem is though, is what if I change the image size or I'm on the phone? Well, this becomes extremely small. So it's not gonna work, right? Like this, on this part, it's always gonna be 0, so that's fine, but this value always changes here because the image size changes. So what we can do is actually just with JavaScript get the width of it. So the way you do that is, I'm just gonna go up here and say let size equal to, the way you can get that is just say container offset width. All right, that's gonna give you the width. So now here I can say if X position, I'm gonna add 30 here, plus 30 is bigger than the size. Well, then I wanna grab both of these, paste it here. Then what I wanna happen to this? Well, I want this to be equal to, not 0, not 400, I want it to be equal to the size. And here as well. And make sure you add pixels here, otherwise it's not gonna work. Pixels. There we go. Pixels. All right. So basically, let's see if that works. Bam. Okay, so it jumps to it. So let me just recap what's going on here. So X position, right? This keeps updating. So 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, blah, blah, blah. All right. And the size here is gonna be the fixed one. So like how wide is this image? So 600, for example. And I add 30 here, so I kind of do the reverse of here, right? Because if I wouldn't have plus 30 here, it would almost never pass it. Like X position would never be bigger than the size, right? Because it cannot get bigger. If I just console log these two out here, let's do console log X position and size. Okay, let's see. See, so it's 100, 200, 300, right? So if I go all the way to the end, it's gonna be equal to it, right? So I add plus 30 here, so it's gonna make the jump for me. Or plus, let's do plus 50 to kind of match this one. Okay, and look at that, bam, bam. All right, so just a bit of quality improvement right there. And that's kind of it. You can do a lot more stuff with it, just have fun with it, but I think that's pretty cool. This is not gonna work on mobile, so you're gonna have to do, not mouse move, I think it's touch move, all right? So all you have to do is do touch move. This might be incorrect, don't trust me, Google it yourself, but I think that's the one, and then you're gonna be fine. Okay, that's gonna be it. Thank you so much for watching this episode. Hope you liked it. And check out the courses down below that I have if you're interested in learning HTML, the CSSs, JavaScript, React. Awesome courses. It's fully project-based. I think you're gonna enjoy them. And that's gonna be it for me. Goodbye.